Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for putting up with our patience tonight. We technical difficulty with Richard's camera, but we're here now. That's the main thing. We did have a break last week because I had stuff that I needed to get sorted and stuff, and then Richard had some work to do. So it's been 2 weeks since we've been here, so I appreciate everybody coming back. Everybody that's here all knows who we are and what we're doing. Richard, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Richard.
Yeah.
I've adopted a view that I believe, personally compelling, that all ancient spiritual texts are not just similar, but actually the same, and the only differences is that societal norms makes us unable to understand other people's views, which is always the truth anyway.
Sad, but true. And so I believe that all of these texts are actually saying the same thing, just in slightly different ways. And that's how we can have comparative religion. We're not comparing them enough, I think.
Yes, and this being series 3, we are going through the Epic of Gilgamesh. We are on page 36. I'm not sure what tablet, but the number's in front of me. So page 36 of like 50 something. So we're over halfway. Gilgamesh is... Oh, not Gilgamesh. Although you would say it is Gilgamesh. Enkidu is died. Enkidu has passed away. So I've been through this gates and stuff. And Richard, with your wonderful voice, would you like to go on ahead?
With my wonderful... Where am I supposed to get one of those? Let's see. Oh, yes, the door.
Yes, we've done the tavern twice. And now he's doing this whole thing here.
Mm-hmm. I wish there weren't chunks of this missing. But anyway, moving on then. I
asked Dr. Josh, and he said no, they're all like this.
Oh, great.
He did suggest a book that gave a very good interpretation of it, that would break it down and fill in the gaps, but that would be a scholarly point. I do not think you would agree with it. So
probably not.
Yeah, we're stuck with this.
Okay then. Well, we'll do the best that we can then. For those who aren't familiar, this comes from clay tablets, and there's a lot of damage to the tablets that have been found so far. And whenever there's a pause, it's not because my microphone went out. It's because I'm representing that there's part of the clay tablet missing.
Yes.
Yes. Because that part seems a little clumsy to the English and to a reading like this. All right. Bolt your gates. Bolt the lock. If you do not let me in, I will break your door and smash the lock. The wilderness. Gilgamesh. Gate. Gilgamesh said to the tavern keeper, I am Gilgamesh. I killed the guardian. I destroyed Humbaba, who lived in the cedar forest. I slew lions in the mountain passes. I grappled with the bull that came down from heaven and killed him. The tavern keeper spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, If you are Gilgamesh, who killed the guardian? Who destroyed the... I'm reading that improperly. If you're Gilgamesh who killed the guardian, who destroyed Humbaba, who lived in the cedar forest, who slew lions in the mountain passes, who grappled with the bull that came down from heaven and killed him, why are your cheeks emaciated, your expression desolate? Why is your heart so wretched, your features so haggard? Why is there such sadness deep within you? Why do you look like one who has been traveling a long distance? So that ice... Oops.
1 second.
No problem. So that ice and heat have seared your face. You roam the wilderness. Gilgamesh spoke to her, to the tavern keeper. He said, that's interesting, she should be female. Tavern keeper, should not my cheeks be emaciated? Should not my heart be wretched? My features not haggard? Should there not be sadness deep within me? Should I not look like one who has traveled a long distance? And should ice and heat not have seared my face? Should I not roam the wilderness? My friend, the wild ass, who chased the wild donkey, panther of the wilderness. Enkidu, the wild ass who chased the wild donkey, panther of the wilderness. We joined together and went up to the mountain. We grappled with and killed the bull of heaven. We destroyed Umbaba, who lived in the cedar forest. We slew lions in the mountain passes. My friend, whom I love deeply, who went through every hardship with me. Enkidu, whom I love deeply, who went through every hardship with me. The fate of mankind has overtaken him. 6 days and 7 nights I mourned over him and would not allow him to be buried until a maggot fell from out of his nose. That's gross.
Wow.
Sorry. Till a maggot fell out of his nose. I was terrified by his appearance. I began to fear death, and so roamed the wilderness. The issue of my friend oppresses me, so I have been roaming long trails through the wilderness. The issue of Enkidu, my friend, oppresses me.
Now,
that's nasty.
Again, I'm just going to keep reinforcing this point to go down the line. You know, Gilgamesh is mourning Enkidu.
Yes.
The timelines don't match up.
The timelines don't match up. I'm probably going to need you to expound on that a little bit, if you would, please.
I know, I think we did this last time, and I was like, take A, and then B, and then C, and then we had that conversation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we had that conversation. But again, it's just, it's not, you know, the timelines aren't making sense to me. Enkidu is definitely dead.
You know, it's not perfect for me in my mind either. Frankly, although I'd love for it to be, it's not.
Admittance
and
of
I
that
have to
is,
say the only.
Thank you for admitting that. That's because you know, we've discussed this maybe 2 or 3 times before, and you've been adamant. And I think that's the first time you've said that, which I'd appreciate.
Well, I mean, I have a theory on it, but I can't show it to be true yet. And maybe I can by the end of the story, and I'm not even sure of that.
Well, this as a summary is just he's going through all the wonderful things that he did, how he missed Enkidu, and yeah, the issue of him being dead oppresses him.
Yes. I think the only thing that I could say that possibly might be confirmed by the story at some later time is as an expression like the old man is dead and the new man goes on, and expressions like that where it's talking about transformation more than it is actual physical death.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can say right now that might be true later. I don't know. And
we also can say that you have read this once before. Years ago, but once before. So that knowledge could already be in your mind.
No, that was not this. I listened to this read, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I never read this one myself. When I'd said that, I was talking about Enoch. I read Enoch years ago. I listened to Megan read this, but I can't say I sat there and studied every word and everything.
Yeah, but the knowledge might be there, you know, if you've already heard.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Okay, back over to your wonderful voice, Richard. We did lose you in camera, but at least we have you in audio.
At least the audio is still there. Yeah, well, I thought the camera might fail.
Top of the page.
So I have been roaming long roads through the wilderness. How can I stay silent? How can I be still? Even though that I right there is a number 1. My friend whom I love has turned to clay. Am I not like him? Will I lie down, never to get up again? Gilgamesh spoke to the tavern keeper, saying, So now, tavern keeper, what is the way to Utnapishtim? What are its markers? Give them to me. Give me the markers. If possible, I will cross the sea. If not, I will roam through the wilderness. The tavern keeper spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, There has never been, Gilgamesh, any passage whatever. There has never been anyone since days of yore who crossed the sea. The only one who crosses the sea is valiant Shamash. Except for him, who can cross? The crossing is difficult. Its ways are treacherous. And in between are the waters of death that bar its approaches. And even if, Gilgamesh, you should cross the sea, when you reach the waters of death, what would you do? Gilgamesh, over there is Ushanabi, the ferryman of wow.
I always say
Utnapishtim.
Utnapishtim.
Yes, right, Utnapishtim.
Utnapishtim.
Just do it real fast.
Just think, Irish Saturday night out, I went and pished on him. Utnapishtim. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly how I speak. The stone things are with him. He is in the woods picking mint. What does that mean? Go on, let him see your face. If possible, cross with him. If not, you should turn back. I want to back up just a little bit before we move on from there. Okay. So this is reminding me of other things I've seen where there's an uncrossable ocean or sea, and there's only one who crosses that sea, and the one who crosses is Hanuman, actually. And it's not until Hanuman makes a way that Ram can cross.
And what mythological story is that?
It's Hinduism. And in that is a story very, very similar to this. The ways are treacherous. You can't do it. And if you get there, then you face the evil king kind of thing. Anyway.
But again, the impassable river, the unclimbable mountain,
which I personally think is outer space.
The unmovable rock. These things are in a lot of these stories because that's the point they're trying to make. It's not the fact that it is unmovable or is unclimbable. It's the metaphor that it's making. This is a giant feat that nobody has ever done before, but Gilgamesh will do it.
Right. Or, if I remember rightly, fail after almost doing it.
Well, the point of it is, it just emphasizes the hero, is the point I'm trying to make. If it's impossible, unclimbable, undoable, it's probably not. It's just that nobody's ever done it before. And it's just trying to make the hero better because he's done something that no one else has done before.
Except Shamash.
Well, he's the god.
Right.
So God can do it, of course. They're all powerful.
Of course. I don't know what's up with picking mint in the woods. I don't get that at all.
The crossing is difficult.
I'm gonna have to look up what mint meant to those people back then or something, because that makes no sense to me.
Waters of death, the bars of broken, even Gilgamesh crossing. So he's in the woods and the stone things are with him. Not sure. Right. Why is your heart so wretched, your features so haggard? Probably because his best buddy, and from the slight hint that Dr. Josh gave us whenever I was doing the interview with Mama was that they were in a relationship. They were very, very close.
Yeah, like David and Nathaniel.
Wow. So, I'll let you continue on, Richard.
Yeah, it seems to me we just skipped a bit of it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
Yeah, right there, picking mint. And then when Gilgamesh heard this, he raised the axe in his hand, drew the dagger from his belt, and slipped stealthily away after them. Like an arrow, he fell among them, the stone things. From the middle of the woods, their noise could be heard. Oshanabi, the sharp-eyed, saw. We don't know what they saw. When he heard the axe, he ran toward it.
He heard...
What's that?
Well, I'm guessing that he heard Gilgamesh.
Well, so far it's saw Gilgamesh, and then, right now heard.
Yeah, Gilgamesh
when he
is
heard
with
the axe, he's
with the stone people. Gilgamesh is with the stone things, the stone people.
The stone things.
I keep thinking of the bad fucking Noah's Ark movie that had, what do you call it, him? With the stone people.
Yeah. Oh, that was horrible.
Every time I'm seeing the stone things, that's what I'm thinking. Them giant rocks.
Oh, boy. I have no idea why they did that in that movie. It's so not in the text. But I guess they're allowed some artistic leeway, whatever. Yeah, the stone things. Finding my place again. When he heard the axe, he ran toward it. He struck his head, Gilgamesh. He clapped his hands and his chest. While the stone things, the boat. Waters of death, broad sea. In the waters of death, to the river, the boat, on the shore. Gilgamesh spoke to Ushabti, the ferryman. Ushabti spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, "Why are your cheeks emaciated, your expression desolate? Why is your heart so wretched, your features so haggard? Why is there such sadness deep within you? Why do you look like one who has been traveling a long distance, so that ice and heat have seared your face? Why? You roam the wilderness." Gilgamesh spoke to Ushabti, saying, I'm trying to get it right. Ushabti, should not my cheeks be emaciated, my expression desolate? Should not my heart be wretched, my features not haggard? Should there not be sadness deep within me? Should I not look like one who has traveled a long distance? And should ice and heat have not seared my face? Should I not roam the wilderness? My friend who has chased wild asses in the mountain, the panther of the wilderness. Enkidu, my friend who chased wild asses in the mountains, the panther of the wilderness. We joined together and went up into the mountain.
Joined together.
Yes. Very hot. Very sexual, too. We grappled with and killed the bull of heaven. We destroyed Humbaba, who dwelled in the cedar forest. We slew lions in the mountain passes. Isn't the part where they slew lions in the mountain passes missing from the... But at least it refers back to it, I guess. That's part of the lines that were missing.
Yeah, well, that's the same... That's the same inference we're making with the Guardian. You know, what did they do to get through the gate? And then later on we realized that they'd killed the Guardian. So
I guess
we don't know how they killed the Guardian, but we're making the inference that that's what they did to get past the bug people.
The bug people?
They were scorpions. They were scorpions, sorry.
Well, that's pretty much a bug. Sure, why not?
Brain Bug would maybe disagree with you.
I don't know how... Not all insects are bugs, but all bugs are insects or something like that. I can't remember. Been too long.
All bugs are insects, but not all insects are bugs. That's, yeah.
Right. We joined together in a mountain pass, or the bull of heaven, cedar forest, mountain passes. My friend whom I love deeply, who went through every hardship with me. Enkidu, my friend whom I've loved deeply, who went through every hardship with me. The fate of mankind has overtaken him. 6 days and 7 nights I mourned over him and would not allow him to be buried until a maggot fell out of his nose. I was terrified by his appearance. I began to fear death, and so roamed the wilderness. The issue of my friend oppresses me, so I've been roaming long trails through the wilderness. The issue of Inky, my friend, oppresses me.
Inky, is that your pet name for him?
What's that?
You called him Inky. Is that your pet name for Enkidu?
Oh, did I forgot to see the rest of it? I guess it is. So I have been roaming long roads through the wilderness. How can I stay silent? How can I be still? My friend whom I loved has turned to clay. Enkidu, my friend whom I love, has turned to clay, and I am not like him. I'm not like him. Will I lie down never to get up again? Or am I not like him? Sorry.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh spoke to Ushabti, saying, "Now Ushabti, what is the way to Utnapishtim?"
Utnapishtim, yeah.
I can't do it, man. What are its markers? Give them to me. Give me the markers. If possible, I will cross the sea. If not, I will roam through the wilderness.
Yeah, so it's just
this is really repetitive poetry.
Yeah, it's the same shit he told the woman at the fucking tavern.
Okay, let's scan forward till we find. Okay, so maybe this is something different. I see something like 60 cubits there, and maybe that's different.
Yeah, well, he's going to pay the ferryman to get across the water now, isn't he? That's a story that's been through fucking a lot of religions and stuff, you know, paying the
course.
ferry. Yeah, so. But I definitely agree with you. Like, I'm reading this shit that's going on, and I'm thinking in my head, if we just took this line out, that fucking stupid PDF won't highlight. If we just took this line out, and replaced it, it's the same shit.
Yeah.
Maynard
Personally,
Sims, thank you very much for turning
this,
up.
I read this toll and ferry service across the river as being same as Jonah crossing, personally.
Jonah?
Jonah, in the Old Testament, Jonah.
Jonah and the whale.
Yeah, Jonah and the whale, that one. That it's about not crossing a great impassable ocean, but traversing to another step of life.
Well, I will agree with you that it's not about a big giant fish. People try and make it about a big giant fish, but I can't remember who it was. Possibly might have been Dr. Josh again whenever we were doing that interview. Talked about it was Jonah was brought up, and it's a novel, it's a story to try and portray something. I'm not sure of the implications in your view, but I can't remember exactly what he said. It was the implication of the story was, but it was not a literal story. It's definitely not a literal, obviously not a literal story.
Yeah, I don't think there's any magic in the Bible at all, but it's talking about real things we can experience. Christians don't like it when I say that.
I don't really like it that much either.
Okay, that's fair. Stone things have smashed their retaining ropes, pulled out. Gilgamesh, take the axe in your hand and go down to the woods to cut down 300 punting poles, each 60 cubits in length. Strip them, attach caps, and bring them to the boat. When Gilgamesh heard this, he took up the axe in his hand, drew the dagger from his belt, and went down into the woods and cut 300 punting poles, each 60 cubits in length. He stripped them and attached caps and brought them to the boat. So exactly what the guy asked him, and in the same order.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's that repetitive. I actually switched off, and I was thinking about reading Pinocchio to my daughter last night before she went to bed, and I'm like, is Pinocchio like a modern version of Jonah and the whale?
Gosh, is it? It's definitely in the story.
Well, there's the whale bit at the end, and it's, and it obviously is a short one that I read in the space of 20 minutes last night. It's not the full story, but I get Maynard Sayers has pointed out it's about running away from responsibility. That's definitely the implication I get from Pinocchio in the short version that I read last night.
Well, I'm not going to go and read Pinocchio and try to make it fit into other spiritual expressions. So I'm just letting that one go, man. I'm
just making a reference point, like obviously Christian influence, and maybe someone's wrote Pinocchio, and I have a media influence, and every time I see stone things, I think of these giant stone people.
I was just vouching for myself that I'm not quite that crazy that I'm going to go and read Pinocchio and try to figure out what parts of it are taken out of what texts or what.
I didn't even take that. I just assumed you were being nuts. Oh no, you're not that crazy.
Not quite that crazy. It's close. It's probably really close, but not quite.
Well, in the context of the story, right? Same shit. They don't know what a cap is.
See.
They have an exclamation mark here and they have a question mark here. I'm wondering.
I don't know what it means to beard a boat.
To beard a boat?
Yeah.
Well, if I was putting a fake beard on, I'd be slapping stuff on. So bearding a boat instantly to my mind comes as tarring the boat, possibly to make it waterproof.
Wow. Okay. It works.
That's just where my brain went. My brain's fucked. Like we've all established that my brain's not right. So
I'm just not sure there's a tradition of putting on fake beards.
No, but there is a tradition of tarring boats and doing things like that.
Oh, for certain.
To make them waterproof. And if you were to have a white, face and put a black beard on it, Jesus, I'm really racist right now. Putting something like that on, it's a beard. We're just going to edit that bit out, right?
Skip that. We'll cut that out later. Okay. Gilgamesh and Urshanabi bearded the boat. Gilgamesh launched the Megillah boat. What? And they sailed away.
Thinking this, man, yeah, it's definitely probably tarring the boat, because they've made the boat. They've cut all this wood down to make the boat, and it's made out of wood. What's the next thing you do after you get the wood before you go out into the water?
Pitch it.
You want to make
Yes.
sure that the wood's waterproof.
Right.
So sorry, I'm just
The
jumping
third,
back.
the third day, they had traveled a stretch of a month and a half. And Urshanabi arrived at the waters of death. Urshanabi said to Gilgamesh, "Hold back, Gilgamesh. Take a punting pole. But your hand must not pass over the waters of death. Take a second, Gilgamesh, a third and a fourth pole. Take a fifth, Gilgamesh, a sixth and a seventh pole. Take an eighth, Gilgamesh, a ninth and a 10th pole. Take an 11th, Gilgamesh, a 12th pole.
12th pole.
12th pole. In twice 60 rods, or 120 rods, I guess, Gilgamesh had used up the punting poles. Then he loosened his waistcloth, for Gilgamesh stripped off his garment and held it up to the mast, up on the mast with his arms. Uttanapishtim was gazing off into the distance. Puzzling to himself, he said, wondering to himself, why are the stone things of the boat smashed to pieces? And why is something not its master sailing on it? The one who is coming is not a man of mine. I keep looking, but not... I'm not going to say that 3 times. It's exactly the same.
Lines are missing. It could be said 10 fucking times.
And here we go with the "you look like crap" again.
Yeah, right. And just to point out, the reason it's written in twice 60 rods is because the people of this time used a base 12 system, which is 60. Right. So it's the same reason we have 60 minutes on a clock and things like that there. It's a run off the base 12 system. It's the way they did math. So they had a symbol for 60 and they had a symbol for 2. So it was probably written like we would write 20. That's 2 tens. So they've written their number, and their number to our system converts as 2 60s. It's base 12.
2 tens. That's Dosaki.
It's the Dewey Decimal System, if I am correct. There's the one instance where MathPig is doing some math. Dave will back me up on this. Yes, the reason Dave has just turned up, so hi Dave, but he'll back me up on
Dave.
this. The reason it's twice 60 rods is because of the Dewey Decimal System.
I don't even know what that meant. I thought that was a library system for organizing books.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. Now I'm going to make a cunt out of myself and just go back into the corner and let Richard read. So we've here, right? No, we're not even going to read that because that's the same shit.
I'm not even, because we've already read this today 4 times.
Yeah.
And I'm looking just for something different, and I see nothing that's different. Oh, wait.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. The Faraway. That's a new thing.
Now, what I'm looking here at, this is why I must go on to see Utnapishtim. That's...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm at too.
Yeah. I think that was the whole idea of the whole thing in the first place. That is why I must go on to see Uttanapishtim, whom they call the Faraway. I went circling through all the mountains. I traversed treacherous mountains and crossed over the seas. That is why sweet sleep has not mellowed my face. Through sleepless striving, I am strained. That was hard to say. My muscles are filled with pain. I had not yet reached the tavern keeper's area before my clothing gave out. I killed bear, hyena, lion, panther, tiger, stag, red stag, and beasts of the wilderness. And I ran out of page.
No, sorry. Just Dave was giving me shit because he was agreeing with you. I've pronounced it wrong, but it's duodecimal. D-U-O decimal.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, I was close. I knew it was close. MathPig's never right, but he's fucking close.
I ate their meat, wrapped their skins around me. The gate of grief must be bolted shut, sealed with pitch and bitumen. As for me dancing, for me, unfortunate, it will root out. Utnapishtim spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, "Why, Gilgamesh, do you... sadness? You who were created from the flesh of gods and mankind, who made like your father and mother. Have you ever, Gilgamesh, to the fool, they placed a chair in the assembly. But to the fool they gave beer. Where did the line go? Beer dregs instead of butter. Bran and cheap flour, which like clothed with a loincloth like, and in place of sash. Because he does not have, this makes me laugh, sorry, does not have words of counsel. Take care about it, Gilgamesh. Their master sinned, eclipse of the moon, the gods were sleepless, they were troubled, restless, long ago established. You trouble yourself, your help. If Gilgamesh, the temple of the gods, temple of the holy gods, the gods, mankind, they took for his fate. You have trolled without cease, and what have you got? You fill your body with grief. Your long lifetime you are bringing near to a premature end. Mankind, whose offshoot is snapped off like a reed in the canebrake, the fine youth and lovely girl, death. No one can see death. No one can see the face of death. No one can hear the voice of death. Yet there is savage death that snaps off mankind. For how long do we build a household? For how long do we seal a document? For how long do brothers share the inheritance? For how long is there to be jealousy in the land? For how long has the river risen and brought to the overflowing waters? So that dragonflies drift down the river. The face that could gaze upon the face of the sun has never existed. And backing up a little bit, if we could.
Tell me when to stop.
Yeah. Way far. That was way too. Now I don't know where we are anymore.
We started here.
Yeah. The death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of death. It's basically like, here, take care of it, the mass sin, eclipse the moon, God, sleep, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Temple of the gods, holy gods, the mankind, they took for his fate.
Broken.
So I'm just, Utnapishtim is just telling him, look, man, the gods took him. It was his time.
Right.
And
more than that, about Gilgamesh worrying for his own mortality.
Yeah.
It's like saying again and again, look, you can't avoid this. And it's historically true. No one has ever avoided this.
Well, he's in the land of the death, is he not?
Well, I guess near the land of death and the waters of death outside the land of death, something like that.
Definitely in and around the suburbs of death, if he's not in the land of death.
Suburbs of death, if he's not downtown.
Fucking pop a cap in your ass, Obviously, a person of the living don't go here that often. They don't be hanging about here playing fucking snakes and ladders. So he's gonna think of his mortality. I don't think any of these people that he's had interactions with are technically alive.
Right.
Just think of being the one human walking around a city full of vampires. You're gonna think about your own mortality.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, so I think this is just going on and on to say how sure death is. Like we say, I don't know about you guys over there, but in the States we say there's only two things you can be sure of: death and taxes.
Yep.
That's a pretty common expression.
Yeah, I say that too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's actually true, though. I don't think it's actually true that we can count on death in all situations forever.
I love the way you just, the death part's not true, but you're definitely going to get taxed.
You're definitely getting taxed.
You're definitely getting taxed. You might
I am
live
not even going to
forever.
try to refute that. Okay, moving on then. If you would, please.
Hold on. Manda is now giving me shit in fucking another message about Dewey Decimal. I said it wrong, okay? Okay?
He said it wrong. He corrected himself. He said it right later. Yeah.
Right. We are here. Yes, jealousy of the land. Dragonflies.
Dragonflies, that was it, yeah. Could not gaze. The face that could gaze upon the face of the sun has never existed before. Now that whole looking at the face of God thing and the face of God being bright thing is also a consistent theme.
Well, they're not saying the God, they're saying sun.
I know.
Yeah, And we've had an English translation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
true
the
story.
the words, they're going to infer different things. So it's not the face of God; it's the face of the Son.
Yeah. Where does the sun fit into conversation about life and death and mortality and being a sure thing? Where's
They
the sun
have
fit in there?
definitely made the point of naming the gods in this, defining the gods in this, and Shamash
Yeah.
is a god in this.
Yes. Good point. The image of death cannot be depicted. Yes, you are a human being, a man. After Enlil had pronounced the blessings, the Anunnaki, the great gods, assembled. Another weird name, Mametum. Mametum.
Just say it really fast, man. Don't think about it. Just go Mametum. Mametum.
Yeah, sure.
You know, my
the
man
Anunnaki,
met
the great
him.
gods, assembled. She who forms destiny, determined destiny with them. They established death and life, but they did not make known the days of death. Oh, there you go.
Days of death, possibly, the fact that you don't know when you're going to die, but they've established that
Right.
you will live and die.
The story of the flood. Now, I heard Jim Majors refer to this section of this story, comparing it to Noah's flood. And so I'm curious what we'll see here.
Well, the story of the flood, from what I know about mainstream culture, is that Gilgamesh is doing this whole thing to go find out about immortality. He wants to
Right.
live forever, either for his friend to bring back or for himself not to die. And, the only person that has ever survived before would be the Noah character in this story. So he goes to him to find out why he has the power of immortality. And he then tells the story of the flood. Did we lose Richard?
Okay.
Oh, no.
No, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm just processing what you just said.
Yeah, so I don't think Gilgamesh, I think the story of the flood, even in this, is in the past. And Noah is the person who has been granted immortality. So he goes to him to find out why he is immortal and
Right.
how to be immortal. And the guy basically tells him, look, this is only because I survived the flood. The gods did it for me. You're fucked.
Okay.
Look, you can put your twist in things. I can put my twist in my things. All right?
I just found it very. I love your accent, bro. I love it. There's certain things you say they just really strike me as funny.
I was
know
in
you're not
Junk
trying to
Shop
be funny.
Library, and if nobody has knows Junk Shop Library, Critical Cripple will put his link in the chat. People need to go check out some Junk Shop. And I was in his chat the other day, and it was like, wouldn't it be real funny if he could read this verse of the Bible in like a really modern version? I went downtown, popped a cap in your ass, fucking gangster Jesus. It would be a wee bit more entertaining.
More entertaining, yes. It might change the story just a
so
little
slightly.
bit.
Ever so slightly, but I'd
so
read it.
There is a modern translation of the Bible called the Extreme Bible, and it's literally got like teenage kids on the cover, like on skateboards and stuff.
Oh,
And it's completely in street language.
Is it?
United States street language. I'm not joking you.
that could be interesting to read for shits and giggles.
Yes. It means absolutely nothing. It makes the Bible into exactly what atheists say the Bible is.
Oh, brilliant. We could definitely have fun with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, story of the flood.
Yeah, so he tells the story. Okay, Gilgamesh spoke to Utnapishtim, the faraway. I have been looking at you, but your appearance is not strange. You are like me. You yourself are not different. You are like me. My mind was resolved to fight with you. My arm lies useless over you. Tell me, how is that you stand in the assembly of the gods and have found life? Utnapishtim spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, I will reveal to you, Gilgamesh, a thing that is hidden. A secret of the gods, I will tell you. What?
Say it really quickly. No.
Shruk. A
Shurapak.
city that you surely know.
Shurapak.
Sure, why not? Shurapak, a city that you surely know, situated on the banks of the Euphrates. That city was very old, and there were gods inside of it. The hearts of the great gods moved them to inflict the flood. Their father Anu uttered the oath. Valiant Enlil was their advisor. Ninurta was their chamberlain. And man,
Ingui.
Inaj was their minister of canals. Ea, the clever prince, was under oath with them. So he repeated their talk to the reed house. Reed house, wall, wall. O man of Shurapak, son of Abartutu, tear down the house and build a boat. Abandon wealth and seek living beings. Spurn possessions and keep alive living beings. Oh, that's interesting. This is very Noah's Ark-ish. Abandon what you've been doing, come with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Make all living beings go up into the boat which you are to build. Wow, this is really Noah-ish. Its dimensions must measure equal to each other. So a box.
No.
Or a sphere.
It's a sphere. If I remember rightly, I watched some guys in a documentary that made Noah's Ark from a Gilgamesh, from this story. And I think they halved or a quartered everything and it was a round boat, man. It was round.
Well, the only way you could make something that measures the same way every direction would be a sphere.
Yeah.
Unless you cut, never mind. The boat which you are to build. Its dimensions must measure equal to each other. Its length must correspond to its width. Roof it over like the Apsu. I understand and spoke to my lord Ea. My lord, thus is I understood and spoke. That's better. My lord, thus is the command which you have uttered. I will heed and I will do it. But what shall I answer the city, the populace of the elders? And Ea spoke, commanding me his servant. You, well then, this is what you must say to them. Well then? It appears that Enlil is rejecting me. Of bread shower down, and in the evening a rain of wheat. Boy, that's not reminiscent of the manna from heaven, is it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Wonder where they got that from.
Well, again, quoting back to my stupid brain that remembers bits and bobs and stuff, I'm pretty sure during when the Jews were in Babylon, that they were taught this in school. I'm pretty sure that they have found tablets that date back to the time when that was happening, that, were in a childish language, that they've been taught this in school. So the story was definitely there in their mythological, in their lore, before the Bible.
Certainly before the Bible, and certainly available. Loaves running white wheat. Just as dawn began to glow and land assembled around me, the carpenter carried his hatchet. The reed worker carried his flattening stone. The child carried the pitch. The weak brought whatever else was needed. On the fifth day, I laid out her exterior, and it was a field in area. That's probably an actual measurement somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Its walls were each 10 times 12 cubits in height. The sides of its top were equal in length, 10 times its cubit in height. I laid out its interior structure and drew a picture of it. I provided it with 6 decks. 6? That's odd to me. I thought there were supposed to be 3 levels. Thus dividing it into 7 levels.
And yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have 7 levels total. Okay. The inside of it I divided into 9 compartments. I drove plugs to keep water out of the middle part. I saw to the punting poles and laid in what was necessary. 3 times 3,600 units of raw bitumen I poured into the bitumen kiln.
Do you call it bitumen? Is that American or just you?
I don't know.
We call it.
How do you say it? Bitumen?
Yep.
Okay.
No, not that it matters, but you know, the fact that you've heard it means that it's just sometimes we hear different things, you know, and people talk different,
Certainly.
obviously different cultures.
I don't know why I'm pronouncing that bitumen. It just seems I've heard the word before some point in my childhood. There were 3 times 3,600 porters of casks who carried vegetable oil, apart from the 3,600 units of oil which they consumed, and 2 times 3,600 units of oil which the boatmen stored away. Okay, sure. I butchered oxen for the meat, and day upon day I slaughtered sheep. I gave the workmen ale, beer, oil, wine as if they were river water. What's that?
I know, just thought it was funny that he has spent day upon day slaughtering sheep. Specifically them, you know, I butchered oxen, but I spent days killing sheep.
Yeah.
That was it. I was just making a joke.
Actually, okay, to me, slaughtering sheep means enlightening people, and to butcher an oxen means born during the constellation of Taurus. Taurus the bull. That's what that means to me when I read that. So it makes sense to me that you'd only butcher one oxen, but you'd be slaughtering sheep constantly. Anyway. So they could make a party like the New Year's festival or like the wedding ceremony. And I set my hand to the oiling. The boat was finished by sunset. The launching was very difficult. They had to keep carrying a runway of poles front to back until 2/3 of it had gone into the water. Whatever I had loaded on it, whatever silver I had loaded on it, whatever gold. Is there going to be copper, lead, tin? Is he going to have all 7 of the same metals?
No, just the 2.
All the living beings.
It's gold and silver, which are everywhere.
Just silver and gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the living beings that I had loaded on it. I had my kith and my kin go up into the boat. All the beasts and animals of the field and the craftsmen. Well, I can certainly see why Jim was saying this is just almost just the same. Shamash had set a stated time. In the morning, I will let loaves of bread shower down, and in the evening, a rain of wheat.
As you say.
Go inside the boat, seal the entry. Go ahead.
No, as you say, just very indicative of the manna, and go inside the boat, seal the entry. Just, I'm agreeing with you. It's fucking the same, man. It's
in the Old Testament, you wouldn't have in the same story manna and the boat.
We don't have to make it the same. We're just showing that there's a definite correlation.
Yeah, but I personally take the boat to be heaven's arrival. That is, Noah's vessel is over the people, literally. And that would be the time where God gives manna from heaven to support the task force. So actually, for me, it goes together anyway. Even without reading this. In the evening of rain of wheat, I watched the appearance of the weather. The weather was frightful to behold. I went into the boat and sealed the entry. For the caulking of the boat to Puzamari.
Stop thinking about it, just say it. Puzamari. Just go with Puzamari.
Sure. Puzamari.
No, you're thinking too much. It doesn't need to be precise because we're not actually doing a lecture to students. It just needs to be a group of idiots listening. So just say it as it's seen. Puzamari.
It's hard. I gave the place together with its contents. Just as dawn began to glow, there rose from the horizon a black cloud. Adad rumbled inside of it. Before him went Shalut and Hanesh, heralds going over mountain and land. And that's all I can see right there.
Sorry, Sammy Jenkins just turned up in the chat. And
oh, hey, Sammy.
A lot of love for Sammy. My very first Patreon ever, one of my very first friends in the community ever, and still can't get the fucking time to come on for a fucking interview. Because he's so
Imagine
busy.
that. Some people's kids.
No. Sammy has a busy life. He's doing really well. Everything's going well for him. And I couldn't wish the man any more love and respect. Like.
Certainly true.
And then Dave comes in and takes everything to the gutter and starts licking Sammy. So, back to...
Anyhow.
Doubting Thomas has turned up as well. Blue Tiado. Now, I do want to pronounce that correctly.
No, just say it fast.
No,
Don't
it
try
actually
to
matters
overpronounce
because...
it.
No, that matters because this person is alive. These people in this text, they're dead thousands of years. They're not going to care if we mispronounce their name.
Right.
Yes, it's disrespectful to call someone a different name. Right, anyway, moving on.
Ergol pulled out the mooring poles. Forth went Ninurtu and made the dikes overflow. The Anunnaki lifted up the torches, setting the land ablaze with their flare. Stunning shock over Adad's deeds overtook the heavens. See, you got fire and a flood here. And turned to blackness all that had been light. The land shattered like a pot. All day long the south wind blew, blowing fast, submerging the mountains in water, overwhelming the people like an attack. No one could see his fellow. They could not recognize each other in the torrent. The gods were frightened by the flood and retreated, ascending to the heaven of Anu. The gods were cowering like dogs, crouching by the outer wall. Ishtar shrieked like a woman in childbirth. The sweet-voiced mistress of the gods wailed.
Did you ever hear a woman in childbirth? Fuck. Yeah.
Actually, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was around for the birth of two of my grandsons. It's my adoptive daughter, but just the same, I was there.
The worst I heard was actually, I think 2 or 3, maybe it could have been 10 doors up. This woman was fucking screaming. It wasn't the mother of my daughter, but Jesus, this woman was fucking screaming. Oh. Yeah, thank goodness thank goodness I'm a man and don't have to go through that. Fair play to women.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, I just couldn't. I just wouldn't. If everyone felt like me about pregnancy, then there'd be no human race. We would have been gone a long time. It never would have made it. I guess it's fine to give birth, but the first time I felt something inside of me that was not me move, that's the end of it. Sorry.
That's a tapeworm.
Yeah, that's some kind of a, I don't know, parasite or something. I don't know.
Let's two men not talk about how bad pregnancy is because we've no fucking idea how hard women have
I'm
it.
impressed. I'm impressed that females can do it. I mean, I'm severely impressed.
Well, that's because women are better than men.
I'm pretty sure I couldn't do it.
Women are better than men in generally most things. Manda's in the chat. So. Shh. Right, moving on.
Moving on then. Cowering like a dog. Sweet voice. Okay, the old days have alas turned to clay because I said evil things in the assembly of the gods. How could I say evil things in the assembly of the gods, ordering a catastrophe to destroy my people? No sooner have I given birth to my dear people than they fill the sea like so many fish. The gods, those of Anunnaki, were weeping with her. The gods humbly sat weeping, sobbing with grief. Their lips burning, parched with thirst. 6 days and 7 nights came the wind and flood, the storm flattening the land. When the 7th day arrived, the storm was pounding. The flood was war, struggling with itself like a woman writhing in labor. The sea calmed, fell still. The whirlwind, flood stopped up. I looked around all day long. Quiet had set in, and all the human beings had turned to clay.
I think the reference of the clay...
Dead.
Well, dead, yes, but if you remember back to the very, 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 very start of the story, humans are made from clay.
Ah, yes.
So, it's the same sort of Christian and, came from ashes, returned to ashes sort of thing. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust,
Well, now you're making me rethink Enkidu being clay in the arms of Gilgamesh.
Well, from my point of view, it's returned to clay. I know it says here human beings had turned to clay, but it's a return to what they were before.
That's what Gilgamesh said of Enkidu.
Did I just reinforce your story, or did I make you tangent?
Well, yeah, actually, you're helping.
Oh, God, no.
Because
I'm just going to say, hello, Tapioca Weasel. Thanks for coming. Doubting Thomas. IQ has turned up.
because Adam returns to the clay from which he was formed. That is the heavenly place, the heavenly realm where man is formed. He returns to from that from which you came, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, that's always the sense, of it's the idea of the circle. The circle, the snake eating its tail.
It's
where
the
you come
circle of life.
Yeah, but it's everywhere, man. That's the whole idea of it. It's cyclic. It's the snake eating its tail. Ashes to ashes, dust to
You're
dust. You
helping
come
me.
from you come. I don't.
Yes.
Stop
helping me.
You can take this interpretation if you want, man, but these are mainstream across everywhere because of
Starting
that
to
idea.
agree with me even more.
No, because of that idea, not because of your interpretation. The idea of human nature, nothing to do with things will repeat over and over again because of who we are as a human species, not because of interactions. I recently watched a lecture on this woman who spent 2 years climbing through caves across, she said Europe, but it was mainly Spain and France, and found 32 symbols that were repeated across a certain area with only one limited to Spain. And this was back in the Ice Age. These caves are 1.5 miles deep. Some crazy fucker was down there 10, 20,000 years ago with a torch, drawing these symbols on the wall. And they obviously meant something to these tribes. It doesn't mean that there was aliens involved or divine intervention. It's just the human species as a collective.
I'm going to ask you for a link later because I want to see what the drawings were because I have suspicions. I'd love to see what you're talking about.
I will send you the
link. I would not
link.
be surprised to find one of them was like an hourglass with a dot on each side. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one.
That's one of the symbols in the Stargate from SG-1.
I wouldn't.
You really should watch that show.
Maybe someday. I wouldn't be surprised one of them is a starburst with exactly 64 rays. I wouldn't be surprised by that.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link, man. It was
I'd love to watch that.
Before this woman actually started doing the study, there was no real correlation between, there was just symbols here, symbols there, and she found that there was 32 that were mainly across everywhere, and dragged her poor husband, who happened to be a photographer, down into these caves as well. So, I'll send you her name. You can look up her work.
I will. That sounds
back to what we're doing.
All right, let's wrap this up for the day. Let's wrap this up.
Well, it's up to yourself, man. I'm good for another wee while if you want. We didn't do an episode last week. I can go another half hour if you want, if you're free.
I don't want to strain anybody, especially me.
Well, if you don't want to, that's grand. 100%.
Let's put a mark on it right there and stop right there.
Well, we'll just go back to the start of the page 46.
Okay. All right. Hey, do I owe anybody any explanations for things where we said, Richard asserts this crazy thing we should do, or did we? I think we did some of it, but I feel like we didn't do all of those.
That was back in Enoch. We had the after party thing, the end of season thing, and
right. I still feel like we didn't do it all.
No, well,
I feel like I needed to explain more things and we never actually addressed it.
And everybody has your details. All the links are in the description. If anybody needs any way of getting in contact with Richard, they definitely can. And Richard will, I know for a fact, share anything he has, give you any information, back you up. He reads more comments and back in more shows than most people. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Tag Richard. He will watch this back and listen to it.
I will not blow you off. That's true.
No. So, if we have any questions regarding tonight's episode, or Richard, have you anything you'd like to think about, or anything you'd like to say about tonight's episode?
Yes. I'd like to say it's good to be back. I know we have different moms, but I love you.
Is the time, I appreciate you coming back, Richard. I know that you had work and then on the Saturday, and you being as technically literal as you are, if you don't have the computer in front of you, there's no contact. So
that's true.
It's fine. We worked out. We're here now. Everybody turned back up again, so we appreciate it. And we will be back next week, Richard, yes?
Yes.
Next week. We will be back next week at the usual time. at 10 UK, 5 Eastern Standard, and fuck knows what that is Central. Other than
1
that,
hour after that.
everybody, thank you very, very much for coming, and we will oink and out.